Say, uncle, why in spite of clashes you gave up to Moscow, burned to ashes, and yielded to the foe? I heard it, that the French were rushing, but that your blows were also crushing, for who will ever, if he is Russian, forget Borodino? Yes, there were men who lived amongst us, not like the present breed of youngsters, by battles never tossed. Too few of them survived the fighting, the soldiers marked by fate for smiting. It was the will of God Almighty that Moscow should be lost. For months we silently retreated. We felt deceived, but not defeated. We heard from every trench, "Here's a reward for all our labors, to live with enemies like neighbors. Are Russian bayonets and sabers too blunt to cut the French?" Our battlefield was chosen later. No field I'd ever seen was greater. We built a broad redoubt. We listened closely for a warning, and when the sun in early morning had lit the treetops, guns and awning, the enemy was out. I took a cannonball and thrust it. I thought, well, Frenchmen, you can trust it and try to understand. You may be very strong and cunning, but we have stopped, we've done our running. We'll deal a blow that will stunning and save the Russian land. For 3 long days we fired at random. We knew that we had not unmanned them, and neither meant to yield. Each soldier thought it should be ended, for had we fought or just pretended, and then it was that night descended upon the fateful field. I dozed, like many, at my cannon. The grounds the French enclosed and ran on were loud from weapons hurled. But we were silent while they clattered. Some furbished Checos sadly battered, some whetted bayonets half shattered and grumbled at the world. But when the dark of night receded, all rose and mounted unimpeded. We saw the marching man. Our colonel was a man of metal. He led us like his sons in battle. He served the Tsar, but felt with metal he'll never wake again. And thus he said, as would our father, "Boys, we are not retreating farther. Look, Moscow is behind. Let's die as others died before us." "We will," we answered him in chorus, and when the battle tossed and tore us, we fought to danger blind. That was a day the French, exulting like heavy clouds, began assaulting and aimed at our redoubt. We saw a picture, wild and motley, dragoons and uhlans struggling hotly, the troops in smoke, intense and throttling, all rushing, running out. You will never see such armies clashing. The standards were like shadows dashing through fire and screeching lead. Each step was manfully contested. The soldiers' fingers never rested, and cannonballs would drop, arrested by masses of the dead. We taught the enemy for ages what is a Russian giant courageous when he has gone to war. Earth shook like us, shot through and mangled. We fell and fought, fatigued and strangled. The field became a howling tangle, all thunder, fire and roar. Dusk came and stopped the shots and rattle. we could have fought another battle until its bitter end. But then we heard that drums were beating, and while the ruffians were retreating, our morning oaths we kept repeating and counted every friend. Yes, there were men who lived amongst us, not like the present breed of youngsters we were by battles tossed. Too few of them survived the fighting, the soldiers marked by fate for smiting. It was the will of God Almighty that Moscow should be lost.